welcome to Fourlane's QuickBooks Enterprise webinar. This is Kaylin Leland speaking. I am one of the partners here at Fourlane, and today we will be taking a look at accounts payable and tying up to the balance sheet and everything that entails. First, a little bit about Fourlane. We have four uniques. First, we are value-added resellers for QuickBooks, NetSuite, Xero, and Acumatica. We are ERP consultants. We would like to maximize QuickBooks as much as possible before looking at any other ERP or solutions. We are experts in both accounting and the software, so then we can understand both sides and be able to give you the best solution possible. And we're strategic partners for change management. Okay, we're going to empower your team. We're going to try to find efficiencies and do everything that we can for you and your business. Okay. So a couple of topic details that we are going to cover today. Cash versus accrual and what that looks like for the accounts payable. The different transaction types and how they show up, journal entries and zero balance accounts. How to apply transactions, the bill tracker, and then multiple accounts and what does that look like. Okay. A little peek into the future. Some of our next topics are going to be purchase order management worksheet, the sales orders and purchase orders for inventory, and then Notify with QuickBooks Enterprise. Okay. So if there is anything that you would specifically like to learn, please let me know. Okay. And we will go ahead and add that to our list of topics today. Okay. All right. So here, what I have is my demo company file. Okay, what this says is it just has a bunch of transactions in here for, just for viewing, for testing purposes. While we go through our pieces, please be sure to ask any questions in the chat as you have them, and I will be happy to answer whatever it is that I can. Okay. So if I come over here to my balance sheet, okay, if I come down to accounts payable, you will see that accounts payable has a total balance of $15,835. Okay, so the first thing that I would like to talk to you about is cash versus accrual. Okay, at a high level, accrual means that you are sending out invoices, you are receiving bills, and then paying them at a later time. Okay, so the first thing that I want to show you, if we switch this report over to cash, our accounts payable does show $25,116, and this is in the cash method. If we come up here to reports and we look at our AP aging summary, okay, you will see the AP aging summary has the balance of $15,835. Okay, this AP aging summary, AP aging detail, AP aging custom, all of these sub-ledger reports will always be run in accrual. Okay, so that's why I wanted to bring up the difference between cash and accrual, because if they are in a different method, these sub-ledger reports are not able to be run in the cash method. So the sub-ledgers will not match the roll-up if that is the case. Okay, so the first thing we always want to do is let's make sure that our balance sheet is run in the accrual method. Okay, and then we can see that our sub-ledger does actually tie to the balance, the total balance of our two accounts payable accounts. Okay. And the next thing I'd like to show you is there's a couple of different transaction types that we see that will hit accounts payable, and I just wanted to go through them. Okay. So a bill means that we've received a bill from a vendor. Maybe we received inventory, maybe it was a marketing expense, anything like that. And then we have to pay that bill at a later date. Okay. Right next to the bill, you will see the item receipt. An item receipt means that we have ordered some inventory items from a vendor. We have received those inventory items into our inventory system, but we have not yet received the bill for it. Okay. So if you receive your items into your system, you know that that bill will become due at some point, right? But this is telling me that we haven't received the bill for this. So maybe when you receive the bill, there's some additional freight charges, landed costs, duties, anything like that that might adjust to this price a little bit before you go ahead and pay that bill. Okay. So best practices is to wait for this bill to come in and not to pay the item received. Okay. You're going to see up here, we have a journal entry. I'm really going to talk about that journal entry and what it does in a couple of minutes, but I did want to point it out that it does show up here. The other thing that will hit your AP account is credits, okay? So if we click into this, maybe we have a bill credit or we have a payment, right? So we paid, maybe in this case, our vendor Chemical Warehouse, we've returned or gotten dollar amount credit for $9,800 worth of materials, okay? This is not attached to a bill at this point. We can use this to go ahead and pay a bill later on. Okay. But these are the transaction types that do hit our subledgers and our AP accounts. Okay. So coming back a little bit, I want to talk about our zero balances and journal entries. Okay. So on this screen, we have our August vendor here. So you will see that there's a total of $0. Okay. Now I see this fairly often, right? So August vendor, it looks like there is nothing due for them, which that may be the case. If I click into this, you will see there is a bill here and there is a journal entry here. Okay. Now we do not recommend putting journal entries to AP or AR accounts in any case, because the system doesn't know how to connect these two pieces. Okay. These two pieces, they connected on the dollar amount level at the high level, but as you can see from this, it is not connecting at the individual levels. Okay. So a couple of things that we can do here. If you come in here to the bill, we can pay the bill. Oh, let's make this a little bit bigger just so that we can see it. Let's go into vendors, pay bills. We are going to find our vendor, August vendor. Okay, so you can see on here, there's an amount of $500. We have a $500 credit, but because it's a journal entry, the system is not picking it up and it doesn't show it over here. Okay, you could also see it says set credits. There is none available, okay, because we have that journal entry in there. All right. So if you have your accountant's tools, we can come in here and fix unapplied vendors and payments. The first thing you're going to want to do is make sure that you're in the correct accounts payable account. As you can see, nothing shows up for our accounts payable 2, but in our accounts payable 1, our pieces will show up and we can go ahead and apply those pieces. Okay. So you do have to do a little bit of workarounds. Again, just so that you know what this looks like, we have the bill here and we have the journal entry for the payment totaling $0, but on the detail level itself, it is not canceling each other out. Okay. And this happened because we did a journal entry of the accounts payable to our August vendor name. Okay. So we always like to go all the way down and clean that up as much as humanly possible. Okay. Next thing I'd like to show you. So Chemical Warehouse has a negative over here. We have some positives over here. And If we come down here to enter bills, oh, nope, sorry, to pay bills. We're going to look at chemical warehouse specifically, accounts payable, and let's make it pretty big. We're going to do some credit cards. We have some of these payments here, right? Those are by our dates, by our pieces, go to bill, set discount, set credits, okay? Let's go to some of these bills, okay? I'm just bringing up the details here. You can also pay the bills here. If you click on that, then it will come up. If there's any credits, anything that's available, it will show up. And then you could apply those credits, apply if you had to return something, if you had to adjust something, and it would put it against our open payment here, okay? So we just had a question come through. Why don't you delete the journal entry and make a credit for $500 for August vendor? Well, Marcy, we certainly can do that. Sometimes if the file is being run like that for a certain amount of time, there would be many, many transactions in there. So you really wouldn't want to, just for timing purposes, be deleting and recreating transactions. So we can use these tools to clear up those pieces and apply them against each other. I hope that answered your question. Okay. Thank you for asking the question. Hey, are there any other questions? Another thing about that is sometimes the journal entries in a closed period, a prior period, we don't want to accidentally change anything. Okay. So coming back here, I wanted to show you if you have multiple accounts, payable accounts, if you go to apply a bill or apply a credit and it's in a different accounts payable account, it will not show up. Okay. We do see different accounts payable accounts every now and then. One thing you can do if you want to have it separated out in any way, on the vendor record, you can put like a vendor type. So you can filter this report, come up here to customize, filters, vendor types, and you can filter these reports based on vendor types or any other custom field that you would like, okay? And this will avoid the issue of having any payments and credits in one accounts payable account when it should be applied to another one, okay? So what we're going to show here is right here, this one, accounts payable to, right? It is hanging out, it is a credit for chemical warehouse. If I come up to the bills for chemical warehouse, they are all under the accounts payable main accounts payable account, okay? Not accounts payable to. So if I switch this, okay, we're going to switch this into the main accounts payable type, okay? Now if I come in here to the bills, right, we can go ahead and pay bills. Oh, I don't know why that's not coming up. Again, switching from accounts payable to account into our main, filtering by chemicals, checks. So you will see down here, our total credits available is now the $9,800 that we did switch from the AP2 account into the accounts payable main account, okay? Now that this has been switched, we could go ahead and click this and set the credits. This screen comes up and you can apply that credit to the bill, okay? Once we apply it to the bill, you can see that it does decrease the amount of the bill, and our amount to pay has decreased, right? Which is what we're looking for. Okay? But when this credit was first entered, remember it was in the accounts payable to account, so it wasn't being picked up by this module. It wasn't being seen as available. Okay. If I go ahead and pay the selected bills at this point, I come back to my balance sheet, you will see that I have one AP account again, and that everything is in balance. Okay, so just be careful, be aware if you do have multiple AP accounts. Let's look at the why, right? Can we use, is it so you can see different things, different vendor types, whatever that case may be, because of the way this module works, right? We do want to try to keep the AP and AR for that example down to 1. So another thing I always like to look at when I look at AP is if I come down here to vendors to our bill tracker. Okay, this is just a really cool feature. First off, I'm a fan of looking at colors. QuickBooks are already in a black and white system. Let's look at a little bit of colors. Let's make it a little bit more fun and interesting. But the biggest thing here on our bill tracker, right along top here, you have open purchase orders, open bills, overdue bills, and paid bills. Okay, so I can click on these 46 open bills, or these overdue bills, and it will filter them, right, just to show those pieces by the vendor, by the type of the status date, groups. Okay, so if you wanted to group by vendor just to see how much those are, we can. Okay. We can also click on any of these bills, go down to batch actions, and pay them all at once. Okay. But again, you'll notice that one thing that is not on this screen is the ability to filter into the different AP accounts. Okay, that is not an option. Okay. Also, you'll see this nice little warning down here. Transactions that are saved as drafts, pending for approvals, or rejected are not shown on this list. Okay. If you look, these are transaction types of bills, credits, and item receipts. Okay. If you remember from a couple of minutes ago, I purposefully put a journal entry against our August vendor here for $500. That is not showing up on our bill tracker. Okay, so journal entries, even if they are on the subledger, even if they are fixing the balance on the roll-up, right, they do not show up on this bill tracker. Okay, not until it's actually applied against the bill and those pieces are closed out. Okay, it will pick up the item receipts, right? As a quick review, item receipts means that you have received the item but not the payment, right? Or not the bill for the payment. So there might be some adjustments, taxes, freights, duties, anything like that to that bill before the actual thing is become due. Okay. All the way over here to the right, you could also see the amount that's paid in the last 30 days. So if you want to kind of look at your cash flow, your outflows, what do those look like? We can reprint payments, checks. You can, change things, print them, close any purchase orders, anything like that that you are looking for. Okay. We just talked a little bit about this batch actions field, manage transactions. You can create new purchase orders, bills, checks, all from this one system. So it is a pretty neat little field, little screen here that we have. Since we are talking about AP, a big part of running a business is looking at all of your reports. Okay, so of course on our balance sheet in the accrual method, we have our accounts payable here, right, which shows the open balances. If we come down to our reports, you have AP aging summary. So you can see that same balance in current 1 to 30, 31 to 60, 61 to 90, or over 90 days by vendor. Okay. If you click on this or run the report, you will see the details of exactly what transactions do make up that account, those balances that we have. Okay. Another similar report is our unpaid bills details. Okay. The big difference between the unpaid bills details reports and the AP detail transaction report is the unpaid bills will organize them by vendor, where the AP summary will do it by date. Okay, we're really looking at those date ranges of the 1 to 30 and so on and so forth. Okay, so if you want it in a little bit different format, same information though, we should come over here and look up this unpaid bills detail. And then if we come down here, we can always look at our transaction list by vendor, your 1099s, our vendor balance summary. Now what this has is it's the total summary of our AP aging. Okay, let's put them right next to each other. So it's the total summary, but it doesn't have the aging amounts to it. So if you just wanted to know how much do I owe so-and-so of a vendor, right? You could look at your vendor balance summary without being concerned with how old the bill is. Okay. I have another question. Where did you find that bill tracker page? It is up here for vendors and then bill tracker. Okay. One thing, when they did release this bill tracker feature, right? Please make sure that under your user rights and roles, you do have access to it. Okay. Assuming you do have access to it, it does live right here under vendors and then bill tracker. Okay. If you don't see it, go ahead and look at what version of QuickBooks do you have to make sure that's an option, and look at your rights and roles to make sure that you have permissions to see it. The last report I kind of want to show you is the accounts payable graph. Like I said, sometimes it's kind of nice to look at a little bit of colors in our system. Okay, it just has a bar graph of the current, the 1 to 30. So if someone is more of a visual person and they do that just a little bit better than numbers, it is nice to see this bar graph. And then this pie chart down below here does show the balance that's due to each of the vendors. Okay, so chemical warehouse, in my demo file, I owe the most money to. And you can see right over here the percentage. So they take up 67% of my accounts payable. So, and up here you could just choose the dates or go ahead and print it. But I'm a big fan of, you know, sometimes it's nice to look at some graphs, look at a little bit of colors. Okay. Yep, there was a message about accessing that bill tracker. I would said go ahead and check what year, what version of the QuickBooks desktop that you have, and then go ahead and check your user rights and roles to make sure that you have access. I believe that it's under these centers. So that is not default turned on. Okay, so go ahead and check that. Well, hey, I would like to thank everybody so much for hanging out with me today, learning about some of these accounts payable issues that we have. I'm going to just go ahead and say thank you. And here is our email up top. If you do have any topics, anything specific that you would like to go ahead and ask or watch a webinar on, please let us know. Thank you.